My name is Alex, and today is Saturday, so I wanted to talk about the planet Saturn, since every day of the week in astrology is ruled by a different planet. So, what is the importance of Saturn and why is it worth talking about? Well, Saturn is the planet of rules, discipline, structure, control, and it's father time. So it represents limitation. But Saturn is also a planet of authority and it represents our mission here on Earth. So there's a lot of different interpretations of Saturn. You can look into Saturn and how a lot of satanic cults worship it. And then you can see how a lot of structures in society are based on Saturnian control because they're top-down systems and they rely on people to comply and step into line and be obedient in order for these systems to work. But we could also talk about it through the lens of astrology and what it's activating in your personal chart, which is more of what I want to talk about today. So we've had a lot of shifts in astrology in the last handful of years. Two big ones I wanted to mention are Pluto moving through Capricorn, because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and then Saturn in Aries right now, which was previously in Pisces. And this is really important because it might help you understand what you're being guided to do in your own life and what you're being called to step into. And then you can kind of see how astrology is affecting everything that we're going through, especially ever since the pandemic, how we've witnessed in the last at least 7 years, if not more than that, we've kind of seen the downfall, especially since the pandemic, the potential downfall of a lot of systems in society. A lot of people are questioning the medical system. A lot of people questioning the educational system. A lot of people questioning the political system. And we're seeing a lot of tension in our politics and a lot of tension when it comes to corporate America and more people choosing to work from home. So now that I'm talking about work from home, I think I'll also mention the generation of people born with Neptune in Capricorn. So let's start off by talking about Pluto moving through Capricorn. That was a handful of years ago. So that's influence. I think it was around, it was definitely active during the pandemic, and it recently shifted into Aquarius. I think it's been within the last year because it's still the early phases of, still the early degree points of Aquarius. So that was kind of moving in between Capricorn and Aquarius over the last 5 years or so. And that's relevant because a lot of people feel like there was a huge shift in 2020. That's really when things started changing here in the world, where people were starting, where we were literally being forced to get a certain experimental treatment or cure or preventative measure during the pandemic. We were literally forced to stay inside our houses. We were not supposed to be within 6 feet of people. There was a lot of restriction during that time, which is so Saturn, because Saturn is a top-down system and it's all about restriction and limitation. So the transition from Pluto in Capricorn to Pluto in Aquarius was one of the starts of this age of Aquarius that we are stepping into. Pluto represents change and transformation and death and rebirth. So when it was in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, Pluto was transforming our top-down systems, and it was also bringing massive amounts of change to top-down systems. And you could even say there was a death and rebirth cycle that has taken place in our medical systems and school systems, even our food supply systems, etc. So then we have Saturn that was in Pisces, that has been in Pisces over the last around 3 years. And it just moved into Aries within the last month or so. Why is this important? Saturn, again, is the planet of responsibility and karma. And Pisces is about soul contracts. Pisces is about dissolving things. So that Neptune and Pisces energy, that Saturn and Pisces energy is pretty similar to the Pluto and Capricorn energy, because you've got planets of change and transformation, which was Pluto, and then you've got Neptune, which is the planet of illusion and delusion and spirituality, and then they're both being affected by Saturn and Capricorn. So if you want to know why all of these satanic cults and religions that worship Saturn are coming full force right now in Hollywood to try to do these satanic rituals on stage and stuff, like, they know their time is up, because these other planetary energies are literally dissolving these old systems. So they're trying with everything they have to maintain control over people. And Saturn, Capricorn, is the devil in tarot. Interesting, right? The devil in tarot is about the material world, materialism, and that's what Saturn is. Saturn is the third earth sign in astrology, and it's the highest point in your chart, which is known as the midheaven. So not only is it, there's a negative or positive sign for every single sign. So the positive aspects of Saturn is that you're getting serious about your mission, but it also represents your earthly mission in some way. So overall, in a society standpoint, it's representing structures and systems, which are all being transformed through Pluto and through Neptune, which Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. So that's what I'm talking about when I say Saturn was in Pisces. Saturn was being influenced by Pisces and Neptunian energies, and now it's moving into Aries. So Saturn moving into Aries, there can be a couple different themes here. The theme that I'm focused on, because I'm an enlightened being and I choose to think for myself and to pay attention to the positive aspects of the planet through bringing light and awareness and educating myself on this stuff, the positive signs of Saturn and Aries is going to be that you're going to step up to your leadership role in some area. And how you can find out what specific area that is, there will be clues in your birth chart that you can find out through the transits. So wherever Saturn in Aries is, or wherever Aries is in your chart at, I think it's at 2 or 3 degrees right now. I think it's retrograding back into 2 degrees of Saturn, or somewhere around there. But it's going to be hanging out, and we're approaching Saturn retrograde soon, which means it will briefly go back into Pisces. And I believe, I think that's coming in November. But right now we are in Saturn and Aries. So we're getting a taste of the Saturn and Aries energy. So we're being called into our leadership positions. Now, if you're a mindless being who is not aware of yourself, not aware of your energy, and you're easy to program and control, then you may fall victim to some of the negative influences of Saturn and Aries, which is going to be having a hard time expressing your anger and asserting yourself, because Saturn is slow and steady, wins the race, but Aries is fast and impulsive. So there's a tension there. Now, if you're more aware of how these energies manifest, and if you have control over your energy field and your thoughts, and you understand how the energies are playing out and how they're supposed to play out, then you can use this energy to your advantage, because Saturn is all about structure and slow and steady wins the race. So you can apply that to the Aries themes of your life, which is, where are you going to reinvent yourself and step up and claim leadership in some area? So that's important. And then the third thing I said I was going to talk about was, since we're on the subject of Saturn, a very important group of souls on the planet. I want to say it's the 80s and 90s. I think this would have been like late 80s, early 90s. If you were born with Neptune and Capricorn. So Neptune is spirituality, illusion, delusion, and Neptune will come in, takes away, or it removes and dissolves soul contracts. It's all about endings, and it's about spirituality. And then Capricorn is systems and structures and the workplace. So if you were born in the generation of souls that has Neptune and Capricorn in their birth chart, you're literally helping to dissolve the old Saturnian systems on the planet. You are helping dissolve the old systems of control on the planet. You're also here to bring more spirituality and flow to your work. So you may be a creative artist, you may be a content creator, you may have some kind of untraditional, non-conventional work schedule or type of work that you do. So you have a very important mission on this planet, and you're here to help break down these systems and bring spirituality and intuition and a dreamy, intuitive energy to these things. And Earth and its inhabitants and our society is moving towards more fluidity in these things. I think right now Neptune is in Aries as well. So Neptune and Saturn are traveling together, and they're both in Aries. So Neptune is dissolving collectively right now, especially over the next couple of years, dissolving these old Saturnian themes. And that Neptune in Aries energy is similar to the Saturn in Aries energy, where you're being activated in some area to step up and lead. And you're dissolving this old identity that you had. And when Neptune was in Pisces, I'm sorry, I don't remember the dates. I want to say it was in March. I'm pretty sure it was March. So a couple months ago when it moved into Aries, you may have come into a lot of spiritual warfare or karmic kind of situations, or like spiritual attacks, because it was all these old contracts are coming up for review, or were coming up for review, so you could step into your leadership positions in this new world and this new stream of energy. So I hope you enjoyed this little video about Saturn. I also do astrology readings, so if you're interested in a mini reading to see where Aries, or to see where Saturn or Neptune or any of these planets are in your personal chart, and where you're being asked to step up and lead, let me know. I have a free guide for gate kids and neurodivergent souls, and I can also do personal readings. So I have my prices in there. If you leave your email, I'll send you a free guide and we can set up a reading. So anyways, thanks for watching.